Okay, the sun just set about 10 minutes ago, so we have a beautiful red sky here tonight in Jamesville, Virginia, overlooking the Chesapeake Bay. Now tonight I'm going to be making a special dish. I'm going to be taking advantage of the local produce and the local fish, and I hope you're going to find this video interesting. That was a beautiful sunset. You never get tired of that. Okay, so tonight I'm making, well, I'm going to call it Chesapeake Bay crab soup, not to be confused with Maryland crab soup. It seems that the videos that I've been watching of Maryland crab soup, they're loaded with a bunch of different vegetables. Some of them use beef and or beef stock or chicken stock, and it becomes a very heavy soup laden with vegetables. So mine's going to be a little bit more on the lighter side. Let's take a look at the ingredients. Okay, these are all local produce and local crab. This is the crab here. This is backfin crab. It's not the lump, but I don't believe it has to be lump for a soup. The lump is better for crab cakes. This is local Virginia crab meat from Edwards Seafood on Route 13. And this is a pound. It's $30. It's not cheap. But I don't want to use that Asian, Vietnam crab meat at all. I have one ear of local corn. I'm making 2 servings tonight. 1 ear of local corn. I have about 1.5 cups of local potatoes. One of the key factors in making a good crab soup is the use of crab stock. Now this is homemade crab stock. It has the flavorings of the onions, garlic, bay leaf, oregano. So it's quite flavored, and of course I use actual crabs for that. Cooked down the crabs in their bones and filtered it out so you have a nice clear stock. I'm not using chicken stock or beef stock or vegetable stock. It's actually, well, to my knowledge, it's actually impossible to find crab stock, although you can use seafood stock, but it's not the same thing. So this is crab soup, so I'm using crab stock. I have a 14.5 ounce can of fire roasted garlic, tomatoes diced, and a little tomato paste, salt and pepper to taste, and I have a pumpkin here, local pumpkin, but I'm not gonna tell you what I'm doing with this. You're gonna have to watch the end of the video. Okay, let's get right into this. What I'm going to do is prep my vegetables. Okay, well, so I decided to use 2 ears of corn, and what I'm going to do is spray those down with a little pan, and those are going under the broiler so they roast. This way you get more flavor when you roast something as compared to something that's boiled. You bring out the caramelization and a lot more flavor. These are my baby potatoes, and basically what I did, cut it in half, cut it in half, cut it in half, so each potato is cut into 8 pieces. So you can see how nice and small those are. And I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. Number one, because they are so small, they're going to cook quite easily, quite quickly. And number two, I don't want to bite down on a huge piece of potato. This is crab soup. I want the star of the dish to be crab, not potatoes. Okay, what I'm going to do now is cook the potatoes in the broth. Okay, I have 3 cups here of Chef Kevin's famous crab stock. I have a cup and a half of the potatoes. The stock is cold. And what's going to happen is the starch is going to render out into the stock and actually make it a little thicker. The starch will bloom and thicken the stock. Now I'm going to let this boil for approximately 8 minutes, and then I'm going to test it for doneness. And how I'm going to do that, very simply, take a piece out, run it under cold water for a few seconds, and just bite into it. No rocket sciences here. Okay, my stock is cooking away very nicely. I did forget to mention that there is Old Bay seasoning in the stock. And down here in Maryland and Virginia, you have to use Old Bay or else you can get a serious fine. Okay, I have the 2 ears of corn under the broiler. You can see how nice and brown it is. There's a little black here, I'll cut that off. I don't want black in the soup. So I'm basically just going to run my knife down. And this smells so good already. Why would you want to use canned corn or frozen corn? You get the idea. Okay, my timer just went off. Get one of these bad boys. I'm going to rinse this under cold water. Just a few seconds. This way I don't burn my mouth. Perfect. I have a cup of the roasted corn. I have 14.5 ounces of diced tomatoes with garlic. Now that corn will act as a natural thickener because the corn has starch in it as well. A little tomato paste. This is basically concentrated tomato sauce. I have a little Himalayan pink sea salt. After I add the crab, which will be last, I will taste test this. The crab goes in very last because the crab is already cooked. you don't want to cook the hell out of it. You simply want to warm it up. Okay, I'm going to continue to cook this at a simmer, just so all the spices come together, all the flavors come together. And that's only going to be for about 10 more minutes. Then I'll add the crab and serve it. Okay, so my soup has been simmering for a good 15 minutes. The tomatoes have broken down to make a nice sauce. I'm going to go ahead and add my crab. And if you can hear in the background, that's my dog eating. Okay, hey, stop. Okay, there's a lot of crab in here, a lot of flavor. Just gonna warm up this crab and serve it. This is looking so good. I already tasted it for salt and pepper. It's spot on. Let's serve this baby up. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this here now. I'm going to serve this in a roasted pumpkin half. I think I actually made a little too much, but it won't go to waste. I'm going to put a piece of toasted bread on top of that. And I'm going to put a little more crab on top of that, just to make it identifiable as crab. Gonna garnish that with little chives. Yeah, just to top it off to make it a little better looking. Going to put a little cream on top of that. This is definitely not the vegan channel tonight here, folks. Drizzle a little cream around that. And that's it, folks. Going to put a little paprika on top of that. And here we have something that's very indulgent, very creative, very time consuming. The pumpkin took almost 2 hours to cook in the oven at 425 degrees. And you can see it's very nicely charred, very nicely caramelized. Let's take a look-see here, though. first thing off is the taste of the crab is just so intense. And that's because I used, I should say, crab stock. Now the little piece of toast I put on top is very shishy, sort of like a French onion soup. That just soaks up all the flavor. Now the pumpkin is a very good receptacle, and it's not totally garnish because you can carve out some of the pumpkin meat. And it adds a really nice taste. It's not overly sweet. This crab though is just to die for. Fresh, right from the ocean. I want to thank you, crabs. This is something you will never find at a restaurant, and that's just because the cooking time is too long. They can't dedicate the ovens and the stoves to do this. But this is quite unique. If you have a small party, a dinner party, and you want to impress some friends, then I would say, yeah, go for it, and they'll love it. Okay, folks. I appreciate you watching my videos, and come back for more.